1996 book that, you know, I cited him in connection with some comment about that he'd been involved and he knew about what was covered up and everything.
But you don't think
I don't think he did.
Right.
No, I don't think he's reliable. There are a lot I could talk about, but I don't think are reliable. You have to be it's a minefield out there, full of disinformation, a lot of charlatans, a lot of egomaniacs.
Okay, and what about the future? I mean, we've talked about disclosure. Do you think we will get disclosure?
I think, to an extent, disclosure has begun.
Right.
No longer can governments ridicule this subject, and I'm quite sure they're concerned, since there's been several low-level overflights, like in Phoenix, for example, in 1997, and the Stephenville thing of early 2008, I think the fact that, you know, at first they denied it, and it was such a ridiculous, ludicrous explanation that they gave, and they've had to realize there's no way they can sit on this all the time. You can fool some of the people all the time.
The thing about the Stevensville case is if you get the MUFON document, and if you were to do a genuine news story about that with reconstructions, with, you know, using some good graphics, etc., and putting it across in the media, the way that they do with, say, the Gulf War or something like that, you know, we see it in all, they try and reconstruct it with diagrams. If they did the same on the 10 o'clock news with Stevensville, that would convince everyone.
Yeah. You see, I think, I'll give you the reasons why I think a disclosure process has begun. It may not be, you know, what you want, but the fact of the matter is that governments of several countries, France, United Kingdom, Brazil, I think Spain has certainly released a lot of top secret files over the years, and there's a number of other governments too. And this process, as I said earlier, has been accelerated. I was interviewed on ABC News, on a primetime news program, and they actually quoted me saying some things which quite a few years ago I'm quite sure they would have cut, or they would have made me look foolish. And they're also planning, they're planning a documentary, more documentaries, and I hope to be involved in those. Nick Pope's been involved as well. Also, talking of Nick Pope, in last year's New York Times, he published a long article saying that it's all real. They're here. Some UFOs are ETs. That would not have appeared in the New York Times even 2 years ago, because it's the establishment, one of the main establishment papers in the United States, and they've just never published anything other than ridiculous articles on the subject. They used to publish very serious articles on the subject right up to the 1960s, but so something tells me, and I get the impression from ABC that they're starting to take it all seriously now, and so I think things are moving. They can't sit on this forever.
And what about the Disclosure Project movement and Stephen Greer? And when that event occurred, I mean, was that? Were you aware of it when it? Because I wasn't.
Absolutely, I wanted. Yes, of course. At yes, in Washington, National Press Club.
I mean, after you saw that, did you think anything was going to come of it then? That it was going to?
Yes, I did. I thought it would help, particularly with some of the people. Yeah. In November 2007, at the National Press Club, when government people and pilots, and I think Edgar Mitchell, astronaut, there were. This was
James Fox organised.
Yes, with Leslie Kean. That was terrific, and that really made people sit up. And I know that because the Washington Times wrote a very, very straight article about it, and I subsequently contacted a journalist, and nobody tried to stop that article.
Right. I spoke to James Fox a few weeks ago, and he's got that's coming out in a movie very soon, I think.
Yes.
So that's kind of
it's good.
About to. I don't know.
Yes, because he's got the he organised the filming of it and everything. Yeah.
And it's he's got Jim
Great.
Jim Penniston in that as well.
Good.
Which was I take it you saw that, his description of the Rendlesham
Yes. Yes.
craft. I mean, do you think, with regards to Rendlesham, do you think that the Americans were in total control of that incident and perpetrated the cover-up of it?
Of course.
Okay.
What do you expect? You know, twin United States Air Force bases, their nuclear weapons. There were more nuclear weapons stored at Bentwaters at that time than anywhere else in Europe. But Holt said to me, when I interviewed him donkeys years ago about it, he confirmed it all. He said, it's your country's problem. It took place on UK soil. But the Ministry of Defence ignored me. And of course, as you know now, that they're saying they ignored, they didn't pay any attention to what Holt said, because why did he wait 2 weeks before sending in his report? No, they've been lent on by the Americans. So, I mean, they're still saying, you know, no extraterrestrial craft landed there.
I spoke recently, well, I interviewed recently Gary Haseltine, who runs the
Yes.
database. And
good guy.
He's been looking into, well, he's actually written a script for a film for the Rendlesham Forest case with the agreement of Holt. So he's been working with him on that. So
excellent.
He's trying to get that script into a feature film.
Yeah.
One thing that Gary said while I was interviewing, I asked him about the Disclosure Project, and he said that if he had enough money, he would like to get involved with a British disclosure, perhaps not Disclosure Project, but Disclosure event, shall we say.
Yes.
Is that something that you would be interested in?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I know Holt.